Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week. I just saw something on my vocal coaching Instagram page that just triggered a lot of thinking for me. So I thought I would come on here and share some of those thoughts with you. And it really, the nitty gritty of it is that all of this comes down to this idea of muscle memory and muscle memory taking time to develop. And this is something that's on my mind often because I will often have clients come into the studio that I haven't seen in months. And this is totally fine. I understand everybody's routine and their budget and all those things are different. But when I have a student come into my studio that says, hey, I have an audition next week, or I'm doing this event in a week and or 2 weeks or whatever, even if it's a month away. And I don't belt well, but I need to learn to belt this section. Or I have this thing that I'm working on, and every time I go to that note doesn't feel comfortable or it cracks or whatever it might be. And they want to come into a voice lesson because they believe that working with a vocal coach will just help them fix that problem like that. And I think the disappointing part for some people about not training regularly is that they find that none of this stuff is just an overnight quick fix. And one of the things I love to tell my clients is that as much as I wish I did, I don't have a magic wand. I just don't, I just don't. So consistency is the only way for muscle memory to take place. Consistent awareness, consistent work, repositioning things, whether it's bad habits, redirecting our energy, if it's a psychological barrier, the only way for us to learn new muscle memory positions and be able to develop a skill that maybe we haven't quite had before is to long term commit to developing that skill. So I always tell the story of when I was younger and I was dealing with some vocal issues and even some work that I'm doing right now with my own voice. It's a daily thought process. It's a daily reoccurrence of exercises and vocalizations and drills and therapy. And it's not something where you pop in every now and again and hope that that skill is just going to matrix download into your brain. I wish, guys, I wish. It's just not how it works, right? So I always reference athletes, professional athletes who have physical therapists and coaches and this and that. They exercise outside of the work they might do. If I'm a football player, I go to the gym as well as going to play the game and developing the skills that I need for that game. But I also work out. I also train my body. There's so much work involved to live at that elite level. And it's no different for singers, right? There's natural skill. I apologize for the barking dogs. There's so many barking dogs in our building, gang. Um, there's natural skill, and that's one thing. But if you really want to develop vocal skills that don't feel in your control, I would honestly suggest to any singer out there that you get into some training and you're consistent about that training for 6 months, a year, years and years, right? It's not something that you just develop overnight. And even 6 months, it's not something you develop super quickly unless there is very, very regular and potent practice. I hope this makes sense. Don't cut yourself short by not committing. And I think that's the thing is there needs to be real commitment, not an every now and again commitment. And a lot of the clients that I see that work a lot outside of my sessions with them and they practice a lot and they do lots of exercises and do lots of work, they do improve, even if I only see them once a month. But they're working consistently. And that's when the results come up. And I always say that to clients, even if I see you every week, that 1 hour a week is not enough to change your behavior if you are not holding yourself accountable to that work outside of that hour every week. So I hope this makes sense, but vocal training is not a quick fix. You don't hop into a voice lesson and just assume because you're paying that person for their time and their guidance that they're just going to snap their fingers and all of a sudden you're going to be able to hit the high C that you've never been able to hit. This takes more work than that, and it takes more consistency than that and regularity, right? So, everyone out there looking to develop some sort of skill with their voice, get out there and do that work. Get out there and find a coach that can hold you accountable. I had a client here this morning and we were chatting about that. She's preparing for an audition, and we had a long conversation about that. That even outside of this audition, some of the things that she's working on, it is completely possible for those things to be in her grasp, but it does require returning and coming back to certain points that she's trying to break down and really analyzing her own behavior and catching herself in the habits, learning to recognize them first, learning to see where the roadblocks are, the barriers are, the psychological barriers, as well as the physical roadblocks, and then learning to navigate accordingly so that you can hopefully redirect some of where your brain is going, some of where your physical muscles might be going that are not helping you, and actually figuring out how to settle in to what is helping you create what you're trying to create with your voice. I hope this all makes sense. And happy singing, everyone.